Elizabeth Cady Stanton was a women's rights activist from New York. She was born on November 12, 1815 in Johnstown, New York. She died on October 29, 1902. She died at the age of 86 in New York, New York. She was a writer, a suffragist, and a women's rights activist, along with an abolitionist. She had 7 kids. She advocated for multiple rights groups. However, her main group that she advocated for was women's rights. She didn't really get to see the effect of her actions due to her death before the amendments for women's rights were passed. She was a major feminist and refused to include the word obey in her wedding ceremony. Her role within the women's rights group was mainly to write speeches for Susan B. Anthony to give, and she was also the main strategist for early women's rights. She also headed up a convention in Seneca Falls, New York, where the Declaration of Sentiments was signed. The Declaration of Sentiments was based off of the Declaration of Independence so that most Americans could understand it, but also see where women were coming from. It was the first true convention for women's rights, and many abolitionists also attended, including Frederick Douglass and Lucretia Mott. Over 300 men and women attended. She supported divorce rights for women, including guardianship of children and property rights. She also supported this outside of marriage so that women could acquire property and guardianship of children, but this did not come for a very long time for women, and it was also heavily scrutinized by society during this time. She also supported abolitionism and temperance. Her husband was an abolitionist, and she was friends with Lucretia Mott, who was a leader in the temperance movement. The temperance movement was essentially where women were pushing for alcohol to be abolished so that their husbands would not come home having drank and not have any money for the wife and kids so that they could provide for themselves. It was created by Sophie Burns, Zane Allen, and Greg Wickland. Some of the sites that we used to get our stuff from was the National Park Service, Wikipedia for just basic information, About.com, and Rutgers University's website. We also used the AP textbook, American Pageant.